Hmm. Okay, let's see what love is revealing to you. There's someone who made deliberate choice to create distance from you. And the consequences of that choice are currently destroying their peace in ways they never imagined possible. They pushed, not gently, not accidentally. They actively created separation, made you feel unwanted, made you question your value, made you wonder what you did wrong when you didn't do anything wrong, except care about someone who wasn't ready to receive that care properly. They pushed because they were scared or confused or overwhelmed or convinced they needed something different than what you were offering, and you left. Not because you wanted to, because staying became unbearable, because being pushed away repeatedly breaks something in you that self-respect won't allow to keep breaking, because you finally chose yourself over someone who wasn't choosing you. You walked away from someone who was walking away from you first. You let go of someone whose hands were already releasing you. Now they're living in the reality they created, the one where you're not available, not reaching out, not trying anymore, not there. And that reality is teaching them lessons your presence never could, about what they actually lost, about what you were actually worth, about how profoundly they miscalculated when they convinced themselves pushing you away was protective or necessary or smart. In the specific torture of regret that won't quiet, this person is discovering that getting what they thought they wanted feels nothing like they expected. Freedom from you doesn't feel like freedom. Space from you doesn't feel peaceful. Life without you doesn't feel better. It feels empty, wrong, like fundamental error they can't undo. Let me reveal what's currently consuming someone's consciousness. In the brutal pedagogy of loss and consequence, some people need to experience absence before they can value presence. When you were there, they focused on what bothered them, what felt complicated, what required them to grow or communicate or be vulnerable. They couldn't see what was good because they were too busy protecting themselves from what felt hard. It's probable the person who pushed you away was operating from exactly that defensive blindness. They saw challenges but couldn't see treasure, saw what scared them but couldn't see what served them, saw reasons to protect but couldn't see reasons to commit, and they convinced themselves that creating distance would bring clarity or relief or better options. Watch for a specific pattern in how people process this kind of regret. Initially, there's often relief. They pushed you away and felt lighter, freer, validated in their choice. See, I was right. This feels better. But that relief is shallow, temporary, based on absence of immediate pain, not presence of actual improvement. Then reality settles. Days pass, weeks pass. They try to move forward. They engage with other people. They attempt to fill the space you occupied. And nothing fits. Nothing feels right. Every new person is a reminder of what you brought that others don't. Every attempt to replicate what you shared reveals it can't be replicated. Every effort to convince themselves they made right choice produces more evidence they made terrible mistake. The person in your situation might be deep in exactly that stage right now, past the initial relief into the devastating recognition, the place where regret stops being intellectual and becomes visceral, where they feel in their body what they lost, where missing you is no longer occasional thought but constant ache. This reflection invites you to consider who pushed you away then seemed fine initially but might be struggling now. Let me illuminate what desperate actually looks like in someone experiencing it. Desperate manifests as obsessive behavior. They're checking your social media constantly, looking for signs of whether you've moved on, seeing if you're happy without them, hoping you're not, but terrified you are. Every post you make gets analyzed, every story gets watched, every public appearance of your life gets studied for clues about your internal state. In the specific anxiety of losing someone you took for granted, people often become hyper aware of exactly what they ignored before. Your value becomes crystal clear in your absence. Your qualities that annoyed them suddenly seem endearing. Your efforts that felt like pressure suddenly seem like devotion. Your consistency that felt boring suddenly seems like exactly what they needed. It's likely this person is experiencing precisely that reversal of perception right now. Everything they minimized about you has become magnified. Everything they criticize now seems precious. Everything they pushed away from now seems like exactly what they should have held on to. The clarity is devastating because it arrived too late. Some desperate people reach out immediately. They can't help themselves. The regret overwhelms their pride. They text or call or show up. They apologize poorly because they haven't processed enough to apologize well. They just know they need you back and they're willing to grovel to make it happen. Others sit in desperation without acting. Pride still holds them. Fear of rejection paralyzes them. Shame about how they treated you keeps them distant, even though distance is killing them. They want to reach out but can't make themselves do it, so they suffer silently while hoping somehow you'll know, somehow you'll come back, somehow this will resolve without them having to risk vulnerability. You might be the subject of either type's fixation right now. Someone desperate enough to reach out or someone desperate but too scared to act, both experiencing same internal torment, both consumed by same regret, just handling it differently. This reflection invites you to consider, have you noticed increased attention from someone who pushed you away? Let me address what regretting it badly specifically reveals about their process. Bad regret isn't polite reflection. It's consuming remorse. It's waking up at 3 a.m. replaying moments they can't change. It's seeing your name and feeling physical pain. It's carrying weight that affects everything: their work, their relationships, their peace, their ability to function normally. The regret isn't compartmentalized, it's invaded everything. In the landscape of deep remorse is less than #0. 5 is greater than people describe feeling sick, literally nauseated by what they've done, unable to escape thoughts about you and what they lost, haunted by memories that used to be comfortable but now torture them with awareness of what's gone. Every good memory is a reminder of what they destroyed. Every difficult memory is evidence they could have handled things better but didn't. It's probable this person is living in exactly that psychological hell currently. They can't outrun it, can't rationalize it away, can't minimize it, can't make it stop mattering. The regret is relentless, present in every quiet moment, intensifying instead of fading, growing heavier instead of lighter. Some people reach a point where regret becomes unbearable and confession becomes necessary. They have to tell someone what they're carrying, have to admit out loud what they did and how much they wish they could undo it. They confess to friends, to family, to anyone who listen, looking for absolution. They can't give themselves. Others internalize it completely. They don't talk about it. They carry it alone. They process privately. And that private processing, it often leads to two outcomes. Either they finally gather courage to reach out to you, or they break under weight of carrying it and make destructive choices to escape the feeling. This reflection invites you to consider, if someone is carrying heavy regret about you, would you want to know? Let me speak to what you're probably feeling knowing this. There's likely part of you that feels validated. See, I was right. I did matter. they do regret it. After being pushed away, after being made to feel like you weren't enough, knowing they regret it badly provides confirmation you weren't the problem. Their inability to receive you was the problem, and that validation matters. It heals something. But there's probably also part of you that feels conflicted because knowing they regret it doesn't undo what they did, doesn't erase how they made you feel, doesn't automatically mean you should take them back, doesn't solve the fundamental issue that they were capable of pushing you away in first place. In the complicated territory of receiving someone's regret, you can simultaneously appreciate that they recognize their mistake and maintain boundaries about not letting them back in. Their regret is theirs to carry. Your healing is yours to protect. Those two things don't require intersection. It's essential you stay clear about what you actually want, separate from what feels good to know. Feels good to know they regret it. Feels validating to know they're desperate. Feels satisfying to know they're suffering consequences of their choices. But does feeling good about their regret mean you want them back? That's a different question entirely. Some people confuse validation with invitation. They hear someone regrets pushing them away and immediately want to give them another chance. Not because they've actually forgiven, not because they trust the person has changed, but because the regret feels like evidence they were valuable, and that evidence soothes old wounds. But regret alone isn't evidence of transformation. Someone can deeply regret what they did and still be capable of doing it again. Can miss you intensely and still not be ready to show up properly. Can be desperate to have you back and still not have done work to be a different kind of partner than they were before. This reflection invites you to consider, does knowing someone regrets losing you make you want to give them another chance? Let me reveal what you need to protect if they do reach out. If desperation converts into contact, you'll face decision. Engage or don't. Respond or maintain silence. Give them opportunity to speak their regret or keep door closed. Whatever you choose needs to come from your wisdom, not your wounds. From your clarity, not your loneliness. From what serves your growth, not what temporarily soothes your pain. Guard against letting their desperation become your responsibility. Their regret isn't yours to fix. Their suffering isn't yours to end. They created this situation through their choices. Dealing with consequences is part of their learning. You're not required to rescue them from discomfort they earned. Watch for manipulation disguised as vulnerability. Some people perform regret to get access back without genuine change. They say what you want to hear. They cry appropriate tears. They make promises they have no intention of keeping. They're not actually different. They're just better at performing remorse than they were at performing relationship. If you choose to engage, require more than words, more than apologies, more than declarations of how much they miss you. Require evidence, consistency over time, proof through action that patterns have shifted, demonstration they've done internal work, not just external performance. And if you choose not to engage, that's equally valid. You're allowed to decide that someone who pushed you away doesn't get to waltz back in just because they regret it. That your peace matters more than their comfort. That you've moved on and their timing is their problem, not yours. This reflection invites you to consider, what would you need to see beyond regret to consider someone who pushed you away? Let me close by speaking to your power in this dynamic. When someone pushed you away, they held power. They decided. You responded. But now you hold every bit of power. They're the ones desperate. You're the one who gets to choose. They need you. You don't need them. They're hoping. You're deciding. Complete reversal of dynamic. May you use that power wisely. May you choose from strength. May you honor your worth. They pushed you away. They regret it badly. The choice is entirely yours. Someone really pushed you away. They created distance deliberately, made you feel unwanted, made you question yourself. Now they're desperate and regretting it badly. The consequences are consuming them. The loss is undeniable. The recognition of what they destroyed is devastating. But their desperation doesn't obligate your response. Their regret doesn't require your forgiveness. Their suffering doesn't demand your rescue. You walked away from someone who pushed you away. You chose yourself when they couldn't choose you. That took strength. Honor that strength. Trust this. Trust that you deserve someone who doesn't need to lose you to value you. Trust that regret without transformation is just temporary guilt. Trust that you can acknowledge their suffering without making it your problem to solve. Trust that your peace matters more than their comfort. Stay sovereign. Stay boundaried. Stay clear. They may be desperate, but you are free.